All right, welcome to another video. I'm gonna get started here. I'm gonna start by just kind of giving you a little background on how I ended up starting this channel. I've had a few friends, some neighbors, people that walk by the yard. They, ask me questions. How did you get your yard looking so good? These sorts of things. How do I take care of this, or how do I do this? And I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I don't necessarily agree with everything everybody says. I feel that there's a lot of great information out there, and then there's some information that is, I think people are just trying to get you to start using something because if you buy it through their channel, they're gonna make money, they get promoted, or they're doing promotions for it, those sorts of things. So I just really, after a year of taking all this information in from all these different channels and all these different people, I just thought I would put together a few things on what I'm doing, how I got into doing this. Most of all, a lot of everything is about how I got my McLane lawnmower. My McLane, when I got it, I was trying to find, information on it. When I was first putting it together, things I didn't understand, things I wanted to do. And I couldn't find it. I couldn't find out how to level the bed knife, those sorts of things. So I was like, maybe I'll just put a little video together and, do it myself. I'm here doing my own videos on me and my McLane, my putting green, and how I got to this point. So a couple of videos I'm going to do this year are basically going to focus on, of course, lawn care, yard renovations, those sorts of things. I have quite a few projects I'm looking to get started this year. And I didn't really video much of my prior projects. I, took pictures, I did a few things here and there. I didn't really cover them very in-depthly. I want to put together a video of a lot of that sort of thing, like I mentioned in my previous video. And my first two videos were basically just to kind of get something out there, show you what kind of things I had in mind doing, kind of what my yard looks like, what my equipment looks like, and how I learned everything about my McLane and what I've learned about doing yard renovation. I don't like paying people to do stuff that I feel that I could do myself. And I probably bite off a lot more than I can chew more often than not. But, you can learn most anything on YouTube, which is the crazy thing. I'm pretty hands-on with a lot of things. So that was how I got into the putting green project. Realistically, I had this tree right here. And I was doing a yard renovation, I don't even know how long ago. It was a while ago. And I was out there and I was ripping out the yard. And I had a rototiller and I was rototilling. This guy's running by. I live right by a state park. And there's a lot of people that come by my yard, just my block, my neighborhood, because we have an entrance right at the end of the street here, 2 houses away, that enters into the state park. And it's a big open state park, lots of trees, bike trails. I mean, it's very quiet out here. I mean, you're going to hear airplanes going over because when the planes are taking off in the south direction, they go right overhead when they're heading south. I'm not really in the flight path, but they take off and they make a hard right and they go down. So anyways, I'm out there doing this renovation And this guy's running by and he's like, hey, you're gonna kill that tree. And I, kind of said, oh, well, what's going on? He's like, well, you're killing all those roots, you're ripping all those roots out, and those are, the lifeblood of that tree, and you probably gonna kill that tree. And I guess he was right, because here I am, I don't know how many years later, it must have been at least 10, 12 years ago, I was doing that renovation. And sure enough, my tree started dying a few years back. And I had a tree guy come out and look at it. He told me that it was getting, I believe it was some sort of root rot maybe, or something like that. And it was clearly dying. It was pretty much almost dead. And so I looked into getting it cut down. I had a friend of mine come over, cut it down. He took all the timber, and I basically took all the branches, and I got the wood chipper. I chipped up all the branches and I put them in my side yard here, and that's pretty much where they still are, right where the van's parked over there. So when I pulled that tree out, I had a big blank spot, and I decided to just go ahead and do a yard renovation. And I've always wanted to have a fescue lawn, and I've always wanted to just have a straight fescue lawn. I didn't really do any research, didn't really do anything. I just was like, oh, Kentucky 31, tall fescue, great, good price. I went and got it. I threw it in the ground, it started growing, and as time went by, a couple months, I noticed that I really wasn't liking it. And I had this spot right in the middle of my yard where my tree was that was really light colored. I mean, it was noticeably a different color green than the rest of the grass. So I wrote it out that year, and I thought about what I was gonna do, and I was like, I'm gonna get rid of this stuff, I'm gonna do something else. And I've always wanted to have a putting green, and I started doing some research on it, and pretty much everything I saw was, you can do this, but man, it's a lot of work. Well, putting greens are a lot of work. You spend a lot of time in this thing, so it costs you a lot of money, and all these sorts of things. I almost didn't do it. I almost was like, I work, I don't know that I want to spend that much time in, doing all this, but I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. If I don't like it, I can always tear it out. I said, grass is easy to grow. It's easy to do. It's easy to redo. I'm just going to do it. In 2023, I took the Scott sod cutter to my Kentucky 31, and I cut all my Kentucky 31 out with the sod cutter and rototiller. I got all the grass out. I got everything out, and brought 10 yards of dirt in, and I got it going. Did the Kentucky Bluegrass. It was a low-mow blend. I did the putting green, put all the sand down. I leveled everything. I had a nice drag that I made to make it as level as possible. And, I went to town. I had a few problems. I had some sprinkler problems where they got stuck and they were only spraying in one spot because dirt got into the canisters. I used rainbirds, and so I got a lot of washout, and I got some bad advice. I got some bad advice from one of the local landscape stores. They gave me something. They told me, go ahead, get your grass seed down, get it growing, get it started, and then throw out this, what was it, Dimension? It was basically a pre-emergent. And I basically did that and realized that once I did that, I just ruined all the reseeding that I could do for the rest of the year, that I was just dependent upon the growth that I had from what I got, because no grass seed was going to grow with that Dimension in the ground. It had prodiamine in it. Prodiamine is a, pre-emergent. Doesn't let anything grow. Weeds, grass, anything starting from seed is going to prevent it from growing, and it sure did. And I didn't realize until, probably this year sometime, when I started reading about it, and I looked at what my bag had in it and realized that I had put a pre-emergent down that made it so my reseeding wasn't working, because it sure wasn't. I would reseed, areas that got washed out and all this, and man, I just never got anything to grow. So I let that year go by. That was last year, 23. Well, 2 years ago now, it's 25. And I came to 24. I made a decision. I was going to redo the Kentucky Bluegrass. The low mow blend I had was nice. It was good. It got nice and green, but it was a very slow growing grass. And I want my grass to grow. I want it to grow tall. I want to have to mow it every week. I want to do those things. I enjoy coming out in the yard and doing work like that. I enjoy mowing once a week. The winter time kills me because I can't go out and do that. So I pulled that Kentucky 31 out for a couple of reasons. One, I didn't really like that cultivar. And two, I had POA. And I had POA pretty bad. And I was really frustrated with all the POA I had. Because in a Kentucky Bluegrass, you can have a really, really super sweet lawn, Kentucky Bluegrass, nice dark green, and you get a little POA in it, and you know what? That's all I saw, was POA. And I was just really frustrated with it. So 2024, sprayed and killed off all of my Kentucky 31. I sprayed all the POA, killed all the POA, and I brought in 10 more yards of dirt, and I basically covered what areas I didn't spray and kill, and I just basically covered the whole yard with another 10 yards of dirt, leveled it out, level it up with my putting green. I put most of the dirt in my backyard, because in my backyard, it was the same. It was looking terrible. It was still the Kentucky 31. I had never really done anything to it in 2023 when I did the front yard. I just redid the front yard with the Kentucky Bluegrass, and then I kept the Kentucky 31 in the back, because I didn't really care about the back. I wanted grass in it, but I was really more concentrated on the front yard and the putting green. So I put all that dirt in. I got this great cultivar, which I really like right now, the Kentucky Blues, Fairway Blues, Kentucky Bluegrass, Fairway Blues. And I really like this grass. So I got it going last year, and it's doing really, really good. I sprayed tenacity down when I put the seed down, and I really didn't get any POA this year. I was really nervous that I was going to get some POA, but I was really careful with what I put down on the lawn. I tried to let it just grow and just fertilize. Concentrated on mostly putting iron and ammonia sulfate or nitrogen. I have a couple of products I use for nitrogen, and I have a golf course brand iron I'm using. And it really turned out really nice. I was really happy with it. But like I said, I wasn't treating it, and I wasn't doing anything with it. The putting green, it's been great. The putting green was super easy. I really now wish I kind of just done my whole yard in bent grass. It's Pencross bent grass. I wish I did my whole yard in bent grass, but I didn't. I was too nervous. It was gonna be hard to grow because of all these videos I watched and all these guys telling me about how difficult it is. I really wanted to cut it short. So if it was gonna be as much maintenance as I thought it was, I wanted to keep it small. I just wanted it basically for looks. So I went through the season last season, and I virtually got no POA. I'm not gonna say I didn't get any, but I monitored my yard in the fall, and late August all the way into September, I watched. And if I saw anything that looked like POA start popping up, I got out there and I pulled it. And I'm talking, I pulled the seed heads off immediately. I get up for work early, and I leave for work early, sun's up. I would go out there almost every day. And I'd just kind of walk and just kind of do a quick look. And if I saw a seed head, I pulled it. And then that night I would come home and I would get my sod plugger and I would cut out some sod plugs and I would, swap out the POA and put in some Kentucky bluegrass. I have a patch of the Kentucky bluegrass on my side yard over here, and I use that specifically to plug my main yard. I was afraid I was going to get a lot of POA again, so I was ready for it. Surprisingly, I believe I only got 3 spots that had POA through fall, and I was on top of it so quick that I got the seeds out of there. And I to this day, January 2025, I have no POA in my front yard. And I really haven't done anything to prevent POA from growing. So that's gonna lead me to my video here. I'll talk a little more about my yard later and some of the things I do, because like I said, I use lots of iron. I virtually have no earthworms anymore. I've been working really hard to get that out. And that's another thing that YouTube videos I've seen people talking about, getting rid of worm castings and earthworms. They don't do it right. They fight them all the time. And I didn't listen to the supplier. The supplier told me how to put it down. I tried their way, it didn't work. And I went about it my own way. And I am now to the point now to where if I find 1 mound of worm castings when I mow every week, that's a lot. So I keep on top of it. I'm gonna do a video on worm castings, because you know what, worm casting, a couple things about worms. They're castings and the moles love them. And if you want to keep moles out of your yard, you've got to get rid of earthworms and grubs. And I had a mole a couple years back. He hasn't been back yet. I'm not saying he's not gonna come back, but he may.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and cut this video off right here. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you learned a few things. Got to see the trials and tribulations I had to go through in my yard. It's always a learning curve. I had basically regular experience. I've been taking care of yards since I was a kid, and I've always wanted to have a putting green, and now I have one. I really enjoy it. I love going out there and mowing it. And why did I get a McLane? Ultimately, it's because the California trimmer just doesn't cut short enough, and I wanted a mower to cut low. I want to cut my lawn and my putting green as low as I can and keep it in good shape. As well as this McLane greenskeeper, the price is, not that bad. I mean, it's more expensive than a California trimmer, but it does a lot more than a California trimmer. The ease of use, adjusting, and the low cut you get with it. For the price, you can't beat it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I'm just trying to get it started. Going to do a lot more videos on worms, how to get rid of the castings, moss, yard renovations, and just projects that I'm going to be doing around my yard. Thanks again.